Obuya, Philip Muruto, Fanya Mambo Kinuthia. The three awesome threesome are in the building. Gentlemen, welcome once again. Kamakawa Kamadawa.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
We mama kwa hema.
Hema kwa hema.
Kwema kwa hema kwa hema.
Kwa tetema.
Nasikia umelala saa 6.
Tulikuwa naoshi Kawira paka 12. You know, the assembly has brought other charges.
Season.
This is season 3.
Yes, you have to say this is season 3.
This is season 3. And the way the MCAs are talking,
yes.
If she survives, there is a possibility of season 4
season
again.
4.
Good Lord.
Because it seems the count is just broken. There's something is wrong in Meru County. I doubt if impeachment is the right medicine for that county, because I think the MCAs also have their own issues. I think the politicians who failed, who Governor Kawira beat in the last election, have their own issues, and so there's lots of power play in Meru County, and what we call the what measuring contest that is happening. Although Kawira does not have one, but there's lots and lots of that, and I think the case that was brought last time was even much stronger than the case that has been brought, because some of the charges are the charges that the Senate considered and dismissed them, said Kawira was not guilty of the charges that were brought then, but they have been brought again. The charge of having more staff, bloated staff, was considered by the last in the last impeachment motion. A charge of sacking some people illegally was considered and dismissed by the Senate, and so the lawyers of Kawira have been so much insistent on that and saying the Senate decided this then. So when you bring such a motion again, the same motion again, are you calling the senators foolish? Or I know they are putting the Senate at a very hard place, because when you decided that she's not guilty then nothing has changed for you to decide that this time she could be guilty.
She so much prefers coming to the Senate after very serious wars back at the county. Yeah. She decides to deflate whatever was there at the county level through the Senate, because for her it is about the winning streaks. Today she is waiting to see whether again she will register another streak on it. But my concern really is the learned friends call it lacuna in the law. There must be a problem in the laws that surround this issue about the impeachment of governors and the presidency, if we go to that level. We did not learn with the Makueni stance. We did not learn with the Wambora, the former governor then. We saw it with Waiguru. Of course, we have casualties that are out already today. That is Sonko and Waititu. And we continue witnessing the same wars. This time, this is a prolonged one, and coming back to the same people, the same cases, pitting the same people against each other, the MCAs against the governor. I think for sanity, one thing should happen. Either they dissolve the county, because this is too much a mess to keep on recurring and consuming a lot of time at the Senate, and there's no development on the same. Inapelekwa njuri njeke, wanashindwa, wanaiwachilia, it comes back to, and then we are treated to the same circus. I'm thinking the one medicine that would serve the Meru people right is for them to be given an opportunity to go see if they made a mistake, not on the governor, but the whole county.
This is bad manners. I mean, politics, you need to manage both the politics of the county and the development of the county. Kawira Mwangaza, if you can't manage 45 MCAs, what's your problem? You cannot be trusted with leadership. I mean, every other governor has to have conversations with their MCAs. They have to find a way to sit and discuss and know what is the issue. This condescending attitude she has towards her MCAs is what is causing her this problem. I don't think you need to go to Senate to discuss issues of Meru, because the people of Meru are already there. You just need to sit with your MCAs and sort out your problems. And I think we have gotten to a point where we are tired of these continuous impeachments that are happening in Meru. And we need to get to the point where even Senate, and the problem I have always asked senators, if we were to give you a Bible, all of you, to hold the Bible and swear that none of you has been influenced in any way, including bribery, how many would hold that Bible and swear in public? Because sometimes some of the decisions we get are not on the merit of what's happening. There is underhand influences, and that's why I usually say, if anybody feels there is no underhand influence, aende asimame KICC na Bible aape kwamba they've never received any money to vote in any particular way, then we can exonerate that one. And I wonder, and I know they can beat around this issue. None of them will be able to hit the nail on the head and say, I'm taking up the challenge. I want to swear that I have not been influenced in any way, shape, or form. Both the MCAs themselves, because there's also that issue of, there is believed that there are people within Meru County who do not want to Kawira Mwangaza, and they are funding MCAs to impeach her. And in Senate, it's also believed that there is money exchanging hands to keep her in office. So I would want those people who think that what I'm saying is insane to just hold a Bible and stand outside Parliament and swear that they've never received any money. And this is the problem. So we lose the objectivity, because sometimes people will come and say very many things, but the behind it is not being said.
But Obuya, at the same time, we call it the ultimate court in Meru is Njuri Cheke.
Unfortunately, a woman cannot enter that shrine of Njuri Cheke, so Kawira will not get justice there.
Yeah.
But Jeff, what we are forgetting is that the person who is suffering the most is the resident of Meru. That the person who voted in these people and expecting that he or she is going to get development. 2 years down the line, they are still fighting. This is the fifth impeachment motion.
In 2 years?
In 2 years. Fifth impeachment motion. What is Kawira doing wrong that we don't know? And I would want to dare Fanyamambo. Kenyan politicians can carry a Bible and swear that I've never taken a bribe.
Exactly what I wanted to say.
I've never taken a bribe, and just after swearing, he will take a bribe. Because, we are told in government offices.
Then he'll die of sickle cell anemia.
In government offices, people pray, even if they are going to discuss about, corruption. They pray first and tell God, please help us so that we are not caught. And so they will swear that they have not taken anything. But I think Kawira Mwangaza had these issues with MCAs. I think she thinks that she's too big for them. She thinks that, after Meruans gave them, we have Eldorians, and then I don't know, these ones are called Meruans or something. Americans, yes. After the Americans gave her the mandate to lead, I think she thought so low of those MCAs. And the problem with the Kawira Mwangaza again is that she comes in as an independent governor.
Right.
And an independent governor who has UDA MCAs, and there's the party Munya, and there's Mbas. And all those parties were parties that were against Kawira Mwangaza in the last general election. And so Kawira needed to manage the politics of Meru County better than she has. We saw this attitude with Kivuta Kibwana when he came in as the first time governor in Makueni. He thought it was too big for MCAs.
And it was cut down to size.
It was cut down to size. They were not even approving his budget.
Correct.
And so I think there's a way you can manage MCAs. At times, you don't have to be legally right every time. Politics, they say politics is local, and if you are not managing your politics, even your development will not spur, because you need to make sure that MCA that you look down upon, you find ways of managing him or her.
Murutu.
Because if you don't do that, then you are not going to succeed. 5 impeachments in 2 years,
which brings me to my point, Murutu. If you were her, would you resign?
Kenyan politician, for that matter, that is having too much expectation of Kawira Mwangaza. But I have to add and say he's making it difficult for anyone thinking of vying as an independent candidate governor in future, because people will imagine maybe if she was in a party, should be managed, should be given the bare minimums. People would be there to say, no, now this one, you are going beyond, or this is how. Other voices would come in and be listened to from her quarters. But being an independent, I think that may have given her the kiburi, as Obuya puts it. Again, this is the one governor that whose spouse we've seen having a lot of stake in the governance of Meru. You may agree with me or disagree with me, but this was evident in the previous impeachment cases that were brought before the Senate. We saw him prominently being mentioned, and he was there as one of the persons that was making everyone uncomfortable in Meru because of what was happening there. So maybe if she detached, if they tried and detached their relationship from this leadership position that Kawira Mwangaza holds, maybe that will bring some sanity, which is most likely impossible, because I think she has some pride in herself. She portrays herself as someone who has so much pride that cannot be tamed by those she thinks could not manage her during the election times, and therefore nothing that comes from them, and that is what is angering most of them. That is why this keeps coming back. Like Fanyamamba says, she needs to now, I don't know, if this is the fifth time and she's not getting it, she will not get it. And she's the one person who is saying kaende.
Your favorite topic from last week. We were at number 44 Muthaiga, and you gave us a real graphic description of standing by your man.
Yes.
And now this week,
Yes.
after he was summoned by DCI,
Yes.
Jimmy Wanjigi decided to show up. And he showed up, fair enough, at DCI, and then he was escorted to Kamkunji.
Yes. I think Jimmy Wanjigi first treated us to something that very many men want to take great exception to. I wouldn't go into a bunker and leave my wife and children in the house and expose them to the police. Jimmy Wanjigi, take it from me and our fellow men, please, next time.
Go with them.
You're the last person to go into the bunker.
It should be him.
You send your daughter first, your son, your wife, then you come into the bunker last. And let the police find an empty house. If they want to burn the house, they burn the house. Next time, Jiggy Wanjigi, in the name of God, don't go into a bunker alone and leave your wife for hours on end with armed policemen in your house and your children.
The bunker can only accommodate one.
No. Then, if it can only accommodate one,
don't know about
destroy that bunker. No, destroy that bunker.
Yes.
Because, I mean, everybody who's got a family, you know that the first
in all
duty
that.
of a man is to protect your family.
Exactly.
So I tend to feel that the first thing he should have done is protect his family, which there, kama mwanaume enye kidogo ulituangusha. Haya, kama Ukonji, they took you in, usijali, kuna kuanga na maharagwe huko these days. It's a sad affair because it's against a court order. A court order had been issued against his arrest. Now, they want to take him to which court? The court they showed contempt for? Because if they keep him in a cell, within 24 hours, they must present him before court. And the court will be like, we cannot entertain this case because we issued an order directly to yourselves telling you not to do this. So I'm waiting to see to which court they'll take him. They'll probably take him to a court in Kapenguria. Or where will he take them? Because the court is a court, and the court has pronounced itself on this matter. So the minute you bundle him into a cell, not unless you have intentions of just roaming around with him in Subarus and wasting his time, you cannot take him to court. Because if you take him to court, the court will be waiting and they'll be telling you, we have pronounced ourselves on this matter, we have issued a court order which you have defied. Why shall we entertain people who defy court orders? So that's the challenge the police will have.
Jim was summoned, and there's, like Fanyamambo says, there's a court order. And some of these things the police does just removes that faith that you could have with the police service, or Zita police force still, because there's a court order saying that you cannot arrest Jim Wanjigi. I think some of these things are done not with an intention of attaining justice, but an intention of instilling fear, such that when I arrest you, when I come to your house and harass your wife and your kid, next time you want to do such a thing, you say, maybe even the wife will tell you, if you do this, they are going to come back for us. So please don't. I think at times the government do these things to achieve, to try and instill fear in some of the people who do this. At times it's very counterproductive, because the moment you do that, you might silence that one, but you are awakening 5 more people, because people will say, if this is happening, then the government is not the right government. And so I think Jimmy, unajua Waswahili wanasema ukishavua nguo lazima utayaoga. Na Jimmy mwenyewe alijua what he was going into, and he knows these are the hazards of the game. He has been with Raila for a long time. He has been with those politicians for a long time, and he claims to know Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, personally. They are personal friends, and so I'm sure he was expecting this. If he knew who William Ruto is, President William Ruto is, I'm sure he expected that if you try to do something, he's going to end up where he is.
Do these orders are they directed specifically to a certain body or agency, so that if someone else that is not DCI comes and says this guy has done this,
it's to the Commissioner of Police.
To the Commissioner of Police,
because then everybody else falls under him.
So this matter of saying the complainant, this time the complainant was the licensing, the gun licensing or something. Does not does that also
to whom orders were given not to arrest is the IG. So IG and everybody under the IG, not unless we have police who are more senior than the IG. So everybody who falls under the IG is under that court order.
Right now there's a acting one, so we're not sure.
Forget
don't have acting arrest police.
Substantive one. We have the more serious one, the orders coming from above.
There's that kizungu mingi ya sheria that they are using to do this to Jimmy, despite the fact that we have a court order barring his arrest or his family. I think there he tried, because he went to protect, the court order went to protect him and his household or thereabout, because he talked about harassment, family harassment, and himself.
Appears the banker is more effective than the court order.
So he should resort back to the banker. So I'm thinking it is they are taking advantage of the kizungu mingi ya sheria kabla, before you come to say no, this court order was served to everyone under the Commissioner of Police, like he says. They will have already wasted your time there, done whatever they wanted to do to you. So we wait to see.
You will see him being taken to a court, and the court admitting those charges. Actually, I don't know how the courts also sometimes behave, because, like in the case of Chief, for example, the judges say that the laws are unconstitutional. They give the National Assembly 60 days to regularize the law, and then the same High Court, after 1 or 2 hours, gives orders suspending suspending the orders that the chief is unconstitutional for 45 days. The government does not go to a higher court to appeal. They go to the same High Court to to just change the decision that was made by the judges a few hours ago, and so it confuses. And I think one of the biggest undoings of this country and our politics actually are kinafanya mambo, the lawyers. They confuse everything. They tell you, ataanzia huku aseme sijui huku kabla afike, the law is on us. Amekuconfuse kabisa.
And that's why they use that expression.
Yes.
The law is on us.
The law has got something called the de minimis rule. De minimis non curat lex. The law
what
does
is that
not
now?
kusema
kizungu tena.
It's Latin for the law does not exist to cure small things, sometimes you look at a state that has got all the monopoly of all the weapons in the country, bringing down a whole police station to someone who has one firearm. And you ask yourself, was there a better way to get this firearm? And when you think about it, you're like, I mean, the framers of the law, of course, did not want everybody to have one firearm in their possession. But I also don't think the law existed so that you can have a whole police station closing down and leaving someone to man it, to come and follow one gun that they think is in the wrong hands. And they were saying that at the time when they came for his weapons, his license was still valid. It was later cancelled. And I don't know why he insisted on keeping that gun. Because if I was Jimmy Wanjigi, ningewapatia na ninunue fare, niwaambie sasa niko na fare. Then that problem comes to an end. Because sometimes you're exchanging with people who ultimately are hell-bent on making your life impossible. I don't think Jimmy Wanjigi, even on his part, should be holding on to those weapons and fighting for this case. Because after all, who is he gonna shoot?
I think it's gone beyond weapons now.
It's not about weapons.
Yeah,
because who is he gonna shoot? After all, if someone dies out of a bullet from his gun, he will have the biggest problem of his life.
Correct.
So if I was the one, in fact, I would tell them, I'm happy, take away my guns, let it be known I own no gun. Then that ends the problem with government. Then let's see what Trump charges they can bring against him. He's creating an opportunity and giving government something they can use against him. Because I can tell you, if they didn't have this weapons thing, I don't know what they would use. They would probably sell him what? You coughed in public, or what would they say? Yeah.
You're giving Gen Z's water and did you hear times?
Yes,
could be there's an armory in that
the problem with giving up. The problem with giving up
is getting public sympathy. It's making him popular. When they associated him with funding the Gen Zs, he owned it up because he knows. I told people between the age of 18 and 40, we have 16 million voters. Anybody who endears himself to 16 million voters has got it right. Because I've told you, I've seen some people here, and I don't know what's wrong with you guys. Akina, they are sitting there and saying Western Bloc, Nyanza Bloc, Coast Bloc. You guys are sick in the head. That nonsense will not work in 2027. Let me tell you for free. We have 16 million people who do not believe in Western Bloc, Nyanza Bloc. There are guys who in Moranga would vote for Matiang'i or some guy from Pokot as long as that's the person they want. And people are thinking that I'm being idealistic here and I'm not being realistic. I'm telling you for free. In 2027, hizo hesabu munasema ati sijui hii ni Coast Province na munaanza kujipanga ati vile Mount Kenya. What? Which Mount Kenya is going to vote homogeneously? I am telling you, if a strong young person comes out, or someone who is not tainted with corruption in 2027, so help God fanya mambo. I am telling you, people will vote. And people are not going to vote for those.
I see what you did there.
I saw Jimmy offering himself as the alternative as well. Yes. But I think Jimmy is also trying to prove those that have been saying he's not a politician, that he can walk that path. Because people have written him off and said, guy, you are an elitist. You should you should keep to the businessman as we know you, and leave politics to politicians.
Right.
He's trying to prove a point on these that people have been dismissing, that yes, I have politics in me as well.
2027, tribes and regional politics is still going to rule. We are heading there, but we are far,
not
far
there yet.
There.
We're an old millennial.
I agree.
We have a younger millennial.
I still think that, but there's Jimmy knows that there's a gap, there's a vacuum.
There's a vacuum
in opposition.
And power abhors a
vacuum. Yes. And so if Kalonzo does not grab this chance, if Wamalwa does not grab this chance, why not? Jimmy Wanjigi could grab this chance, and will be the opposition leader. Even if he fails to beat President William Ruto, he might be the opposition leader.
That's a good point.
The teaching fraternity is too huge a constituency to try and play around with. A teacher, my mom was a teacher, and I will tell you, doctors are they are above lawyers kidogo. They are elitist. Hawaongeangi na watu sana. Wako kama wanaongea na wewe wanakuuliza what are you suffering from. For a teacher, teacher ni mtu ya mashinani. He might be one, but he controls like 10. people around him, because
Or even more.
Because akimaliza shuleni ataenda kwa bar hapo next
akiwa barabarani tu pia
anatembea hapo na watu wengine
na wanamuita mwalimu
wa maths.
Ako na nduthi tano huko zenye amerent kwa watu huko. And so
you can't wish them
it's a huge constituency. I don't know how Kenya Kwanza is going to navigate, because the fact of the matter is wamepunguza hiyo pesa from the finance bill, and they have to get that 13 billion to try and placate those teachers so that they don't go on strike, because the teaching fraternity is a huge constituency. And as we speak, counties have not received money for 3 months. As we speak,
so there's a danger. I mean, there's also a danger there as well.
Yes, but
hakuna pesa.
There's no money, and so for Kenya Kwanza, they will have to get money from somewhere. How
much is needed for the teacher strike?
Only 13
B.
Can I tell you something? We were told that there's 15 billion missing from eCitizen at night. Yeah, missing from eCitizen, just disappeared. So if you take 15 billion and you divide by about 34,000, and then you divide by 12, so 34,000 is, you're imagining, is the salary of a teacher, which is basically around there, because they get about 34,000. So take 15 billion. For those who are at home, a billion has 9 zeros. Just add 9 zeros. On your calculator, it will show an E if you're using your phone. Now divide that by 34,000 and then divide by 12. You will see that can pay 13,000 teachers for a whole year. If you don't divide by 12, you've already seen what it came to. So what am I trying to say? I mean, the problem is not getting 13 billion in this country. eCitizen, it can disappear at night, and then like a sneeze, and then there's no problem.
And no one says a thing. Someone
has just been paid 40 billion
for
in an extra pipeline construction.
Imagine.
Do we need an extra pipeline in this country? Kwani hatupati mafuta? I think the most important thing right now that we need is the pipeline of teachers.
Yes.
It's the schools. I mean, I am having a son in a national school. It used to be very prestigious. Nowadays, you go to schools like Mangu or everywhere. There are children sleeping in classrooms, in libraries, under staircases.
Because?
In national schools. Because they came up with something stupid called 100% transition that they were not prepared for. So a school that comes and says we can take 350, they are given 600. You say you don't have capacity, unaambiwa utafukuzwa kama principal, create capacity, and then you're not given money. Those teachers literally, I know schools that have been taken to court by suppliers of maize and beans and so on and so forth, because they cannot pay. So we just have a government that makes things very impossible for parents. I mean, if you see the kind of conversations that parents are having in BOG meetings, and I sit on a board of a national school, I can tell you there's a problem with the way government manages school. School is not a priority to them. Priority ni vitu kama hizi pipeline sijui ya ujinga. Who needs a pipeline right now?
I agree with Fanyamambo with that.
There's infighting in Azimio now. Is Azimio dead in the water?
Azimio is dead. Full stop. CORD died. Life went on. NASA died. Life went on. Azimio is dead. Life would go on. So
we are waiting for the barrier.
And it is so characteristic that anytime the deaths are nigh, they fight the death so much. Everyone is trying to prove how these deaths are,
Wataki kutoa machine.
They're not unplugging
the machine.
Yes.
but I
life support.
But I think the parties in Azimio thought that ODM will not come out and fight. They thought that as a big brother, they can take blows and say, okay, we will take 1 or 2. But ODM has surprised them. After being hammered by Eugene Wamalwa, Kalonzo has not come out so forcefully to demand that ODM goes out.
Eugene was more vocal, wasn't he?
Yes, Eugene was more vocal. And yesterday there was supposed to be a meeting that was supposed to be chaired by Uhuru Kenyatta. And ODM told them, who are you calling them? Who are you to call the meeting? The secretary of Azimio is one Junet Mohammed.
Yes.
That's the person who is supposed to be calling the meeting. Who are you to be calling that meeting? And Wanga was so forceful and told them, and even Ososi, they are new officials. They want to prove to Baba that we can handle these issues. And they told the other parties that we will not accept to be railroad. They actually told them, if you dare us, we are going to run away with everything.
What?
Because they have the numbers. Ososo was asking, when Kioni talks of Jubilee, which Jubilee is he talking about? Because the Jubilee that remained in the
now they are cognizant of the other the
Jubilee
Kioni, the Kega.
There are only 2 MPs, I think.
Yeah.
The one for Stare
And
who is the deputy chief?
And Embakasi.
Yes, there are only two.
That is Mwenje.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two.
And Kioni, who is outside.
So there are only two MPs in Azimio. The only party that can claim to have the numbers in Azimio is Wiper. And what are those numbers?
Speaking of Wiper is very quiet. I mean,
I come from Dagoretti South. And people are telling me something. They are telling me there are 3 MPs, for example. Kimani Ichung'wah, KJ, Wamashukuru, and Kawajiko. That even if these people vie alone, like literally alone, they will be number 2. So you just vie alone.
Yes.
KJ, you'll be number 2, and the others. It's the same thing. I think even Akina Kalonzo, this thing of theirs, if Kalonzo, Kioni, Eugene Wamalwa, and the others were to come together and vie on their own for the presidential ticket, and William Ruto is not on the ballot, they would be number 2. So let them form something new right now, instead of trying to fight with ODM. Just form something of your own and let it be known to be a coalition of your own, running on your own without necessarily... I mean, it's easier for them to exit Azimio than to force ODM to leave. But I have told you, those ones, even if they vie on their own, the way they are, they'll be number 2.
You know, Wiper also looking at their interests, because if they try to force ODM out, ODM will tell them, even this deputy minority leader that you are
out of good faith.
This is out of good faith. If we are to follow numbers, we will not be occupying this.
The most annoying thing is that when they were doing the changes after the donating that was done to government, I think the constituent parties, these other constituent parties that are not ODM, were hoping that something will be thrown their way other than the deputy minority. And unfortunately, that did not come. And therefore, that has frustrated them so much that they keep thinking or imagining, if we threaten these guys that will get them out of this outfit, they will get scared. ODM right now does not need Azimio to exist. They have added a muscle to themselves by embedding themselves into the system, and they know how they want to use that to their advantage.
So the other ones are between a rock and a hard place.
I'm telling you.
Yani hiyo imeenda.
Yeah, imeenda.